kids aren't at the playgrounds because they're worried about the air quality. And again, I mean, just look at this shot. Katie, you know this shot. You've been here. You cannot see Manhattan from Brooklyn just across the way. It's really unbelievable to see.
Like somebody took an eraser and just erased the skyline, or you could say it looks like we've gone back in time, that it's 1854 again in New York City when there were no skyscrapers or tall buildings. Yasmin, hold on a second. Let's go to Bill Cairns. Bill, talk to me about the science behind all this. What's happening with the wildfires in Canada? Why is the smoke from that far away so heavily blanketing this city?
Yeah, that's the wild part. You would think that if the fires, which are 800 miles away in Quebec, if that smoke got here, it would disperse a little bit, and it wouldn't be this thick and this dense. And that's what's really incredible about this. And this was actually well predicted. We saw this on our computers yesterday. We knew we were going to wake up to a really dense plume of smoke over Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester. And that was supposed to head down over southern New England, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York City during the afternoon. And that's exactly what happened. About an hour ago, the street lights came on behind me because that's how dark it got. I mean, it was a really incredible sight, especially for the 2 p.m. in the middle of the afternoon here on the East Coast. So where we're sitting right now in this air mass, this will go down in the recorded history of the New York City area as the worst air quality ever measured. And that goes back to the late 90s, so about 24 years. Of course, back in the 70s and 80s with the smog, it may have been worse then, but we just didn't have the monitoring stations. So where do we go from here? That's what everyone wants to know. When is this going to end? The fires are not stopping in Canada anytime soon. They just said today there's 241 uncontrolled blazes burning in Canada. So anytime that north wind kicks in, it's going to blow down into the U.S. somewhere. It happens to be right now throughout New England and down the East Coast, but that could change in the weeks ahead. This region will finally get a little bit better on Saturday. That's when a cold front and some rain will come through and the wind direction will change and will blow this all out. But for tonight and tomorrow morning, what you see is what you get. And in the areas like D.C., down to Richmond, that's where some of this is heading. Right now, the air quality is getting much worse in Philadelphia. Allentown, Pennsylvania is in the hazardous category. I mean, we're not just wearing masks just, to make a statement. We're wearing masks because it is literally, the EPA is telling us we are in a hazardous air quality, not just for the elderly, not for the young or people with respiratory illnesses, but for everyone. It's hazardous to be breathing in all these particles. They get in your lungs, they get in your bloodstream, they go through your heart. Not something you want to have happen if you can avoid it.
I'm going to talk about the health effects in a moment with Dr. Kavita Patel a little bit later in the show, but I want to ask you about climate change, Bill, because we've never seen anything like this before, that at least none of us can remember anything like this. How is climate change affecting this? Officials in Canada have said that they expect there to be on and off wildfires through August of this year. So I guess this could happen again?
We look at the extremes. Canada, especially Western and Central Canada, has just got done with the hottest spring they've ever seen. And that's where all the fires have started. That's the reason for all of this, is because they are so exceptionally hot and dry in the early spring. And now they're going into the summer where, of course, it's hot and dry anyways. And that's all burning. So it's all part of that extreme cycle. And, there have been wildfires in Canada before. This one is probably worse this season because of climate change, because we're a little warmer. So it probably would have happened anyways, but it's more, everything is amped up a little bit. Everything's on steroids because of what we've done to our planet.
And we'll talk to the doctor again in a moment. But I do want to mention before we go that a matinee of Prima Facie on Broadway was halted for 10 minutes because the actress Jodie Comer couldn't breathe. She was inside. It started up again with the understudy playing the main role. So even indoors now, it's becoming a problem. Bill Cairns, Bill, thank you very much. Yasmin Vousoughian, thank you as well.